Hello everyone. Let's understand what is Python. In this particular course, let's understand what is Python. Let's start discussing about Python. So let's start with what is Python. Let's start with what is Python. Python is a programming language. The very first point that we need to understand is Python is a programming language. And Python can also be used as scripting language. Python is not only the programming language, Python can also be used as a scripting language. This is the advantage we have with the Python. And let's understand, since Python is a programming language, we have few examples of the other programming languages. Let's understand what is a programming language. We have other programming languages like C, C++, Java, C Sharp, the other programming languages. Similar to the other programming languages, Python is also a programming language. The other advantage with the Python is Python can also be written as a scripting language. Python can also be used as a scripting language. Let's suppose, for example, let's understand like what is the use of programming language, why we need to learn any programming language. So we have other programming languages like C, C++, Java. We have mentioned here. Go is one programming language by the Google. C Sharp is one programming language. Java is one programming language. There are many programming languages. What is the advantage of having programming language? What does we do with the programming language? See, we can develop applications with the help of programming languages. So it's not only about Python. It's not only regarding the Python. So any programming language, if we learn, we can develop applications using programming languages. For example, like what are the applications that we can develop? We can develop calculator, ticket booking applications. Like that, many other applications we can design based on the programming language. Suppose if we learn any programming language, the objective of learning the programming language is to develop the applications. For example, we can develop an application like calculator, and we can also develop an application which is used for booking online tickets, anything. Like if you want to pay any if we want to make any payments and all, we have some applications like payment apps and all. So any other applications we can develop by using the programming languages. And let's talk about Python now. Python is a high-level language. Python is a high-level programming language. Of course, Python is a programming language. And what type of, what kind of language, what kind of, usually any programming language, if we talk about any programming language can be said as like low-level language or high-level language usually. Similarly, Python is usually called as a high-level language. Python is a high-level language because whatever the statements we write in the form of high-level language. So you can take any of the program. Suppose you consider these statements, print of hello world. We are going to print something like inside the print statement, we are going to print something like hello world. So usually we write programs like this with the help of these statements. Okay, we write programs with the help of these statements, like these statements. And usually these kind of statements are high level. Why? Because high level languages are developer friendly. You can see now we can develop applications using programming languages. And usually Python is a high level language. Why Python is called as high level language? Because high level, we whatever the statements we write in the program, whatever the things that we write in the program, everything will be in the form of high level. So high level is nothing but user understandable. If any programming language is said to be high level, it is nothing but user understandable. So if I'm writing a statement like this print hello world, we can understand it. User can understand user can understand this particular statement. So user can understand it. If we are using a print function, print is a function actually. We'll understand why what are the functions available in this programming language. All these things we'll understand. But print is a function. So by looking at this function, we can easily understand that we are going to print something. This is a high-level language. User understandable language is usually called as high-level language. Why Python is called as high-level language? Because it's a user understandable. All the statements we write in the form of like this, where user can easily understand these kind of statements. And we should also understand what is the meaning of low-level language. Low-level language will be always in the form of binary language. We know the meaning of binary language. Binary language is actually in the binary language, usually the content will be in the form of zeros and ones. Everything will be everything will be there in the form of zeros and ones. In the binary language, everything will be in the form of zeros and ones. That's why we call it as binary language. And this binary language is also called as low-level language. So whatever the binary language I'm talking about now, the binary language is called as low-level language. This low-level language, binary language is called as low-level language. And this low-level language can be understandable by the computer. Try to understand high-level languages are understandable. High-level languages are easily understandable by the humans. And low-level language is easily understandable by the computer. If I ask you like, what is the computer? What language does the computer can easily understand? Computer can understand only one language. Computer can understand only one language, which is in the form of binary, which is called zeros and ones. And these low-level languages are not developer-friendly or not user-friendly. These low-level languages I'm talking about, these low-level languages are not developer or user-friendly. Why? Because the low-level language, these low-level language can only understandable by the computer. Computer understands the low-level language, which is also called as machine-level language, which is in the form of zeros and ones. Binary language, everything is same. Binary language or zeros and ones, both are same. Low-level language or machine understandable language, both are same. And low-level languages or machine understandable languages are not developer-friendly. Okay, we cannot write program by using zeros and ones. We cannot write a large program by using zeros and ones. That's very difficult. I'm not saying that it is not at all possible, but it's very difficult to write a program using zeros and ones, using binary language. That's why low-level languages are not developer-friendly. High-level language is developer-friendly. Since Python is a high-level language, it is developer-friendly. So we write every statement like this. You can observe the statement, print hello world. By looking at the statements, we can easily understand that we are going to print a string, which is given here in the double quotes. Which is given here in the double quotes. We are going to print this statement particularly. So my intention is to say that high-level languages are developer-friendly here. Right? And let's move on to the next point. So far, we understood like Python is a programming language. Python can also be used as a scripting language. Python is similar to other programming languages like C, C++, Java. And what is the intention of learning programming language? If anyone is learning any programming language, what is their intention? See, we can develop applications. The main advantage is like we can develop applications using programming languages. These are the example applications that we can develop. And the other point that we have mentioned is Python is a high-level language. Why particularly we are mentioning this point here is like if it is a high-level language, usually high-level languages are developer-friendly. Low-level languages or binary language is not developer-friendly. Why? Because these particular language can be understandable only by the computer, not by the humans. And let's move on to the next point. Like, who is the father of the Python? Python is developed by Guido van Rossum. The father of the Python is Guido van Rossum, and came into the picture in the year 1999. From the year 1989. So, father of the Python is Guido van Rossum in the year 1989. Right? Let's talk about some of the features of the Python programming language. So if someone asks you like what are the features of Python, we should be able to answer like Python is a very simple and easy programming language. Very easy to learn. Python is very easy to learn. Even a beginner, even a beginner can understand without any background, without any computer background, computer science background, or without any requirements, without any prerequisites. Any beginner can understand Python. Python syntax is very clear. We can understand Python syntax very clearly. Very easy to understand. Why it is one of the features of the Python programming language? Python is very simple and easy to learn. We can learn Python very easily. Why? Because Python syntax is very clear and very easy to understand. Even making it accessible, even it will be easy for understand. Even for the beginners also, it is very easy to understand. For the beginners also, who doesn't have any background, who doesn't have any knowledge, basic knowledge, everyone can learn Python. Why? Because Python is very simple and easy to learn. And you know the next feature, you see, Python is open source. Python is open source. The exact meaning of open source is Python is free to download and use. Python is free. We don't need to pay anything to download the Python and to use it. We can go to the Google and we can download it. We can use it for free of cost. That's the actual meaning of open source. Python is free. Python is free to download. We don't need to pay anything. We can download it from the Google for free of cost and we can use it. So since we can able to download it and use it, it is called as an open source. Hope you got it. Some features of the Python. We're talking about features of Python. Python is very simple and easy to learn because the syntax of Python syntax of the Python is very simple and clear to understand, very easy to understand. And even for the beginners also, beginners can also learn this Python very easily. That's why Python is a very simple and easy programming language to learn. Open source because Python is available for free to download and use. That's why it is called as an open source. Python is an open source one. And already we understood the meaning of high level. We came across the meaning of high level language actually. Usually the programming language, whatever the statements in the programming language, we write programming language in the form of high level language. If we write any programming language in the high level language, those programming languages are developer friendly. Those programming languages are developer friendly. Developer can easily understand those statements. By looking at the statements, he can recognize like what is happening and what is going. Let's come to the next one, which is called as platform independent. Python is a platform independent. We might have heard about this platform independent earlier also. If anyone had a background of learning any other programming language, if anyone has learned any other programming languages like Java, any other programming language, it is also a platform independent. Python is also a platform independent. What is the exact meaning of platform independent? Suppose if I install or if I am going to run some code in the Python in any operating system like Windows, consider I'm running some Python program in Windows operating system. The same Python program can be run in any other operating systems like Mac OS and Linux without any modifications. You don't need to do any modifications. Don't need to do any modifications. Consider I'm writing a program in the Windows operating system. I'm writing a program in the Python. I'm in programming language. I'm writing a program in Python programming language in the Windows environment. Whatever the program that I have written, whatever the Python program that I've written in the Windows environment, the same Python program can be run in Mac OS or Linux operating system, any other operating systems. The same program can be run in any other operating systems without any modifications. That gives the meaning of platform independent, not depending on the platform. Program is not depending on the platform. Program is not saying that I can run only on Windows. I cannot run on Mac OS. You have to make little modifications if you're running it on the Mac OS. No, no such kind of requirement. If you're writing a Python program, you can run it on Windows environment or you can run it on Mac OS environment. You can go ahead and run it in any other operating system without any modifications. That gives the meaning of platform independent. Let's move on to the next feature, which is called as dynamically typed. What is dynamically typed? In Python, we might have heard about the data types of the variable. Okay, if anyone is not aware of what is data type and what is variable, no issues. But actually, the meaning of dynamically typed is we're trying to understand the meaning of dynamically typed. No need to declare the data type of the variable. Usually, we declare variables in the programming language. For storing any kind of information, for storing any kind of data, we use variables. Variable is a kind of thing which is used for storing some data or information, any values. But while declaring a variable in the other programming languages, like C, C++, Java, we used to declare data type. But in Python, there is no need to declare the data type of a variable. No need to declare the data type of the variable. You might have heard the data types. You might have heard some data types like int, char, int, float, char. All these are the data types, right? Int, for, char, bool. All these are the data types. So we don't need to declare any data type of the variable. Usually, if I am using any variables, usually I declare variables like this int a, float b, like this. Since Python is a dynamically typed one, you don't need to define or declare the data type of the variable. No need to worry about the data types. You can declare the values. You can declare the variables and values. That's it. By default, in the background, it will handle. If you just declare a is equal to 5, based on the value that you are assigning, if you just declare that a is equal to 5, based on the value that you are assigning, it will understand that it is an integer. 5 is an integer, right? So Python can easily understand that the value that you have declared is integer. Suppose if you have declared like a value called 5.5, Python can easily understand that the value that you have defined is floating point value. That's the actual meaning of dynamically type. No need to declare the data type of a variable. You can simply declare the variables and values. That's it. Let's move on to the next feature, which is called as procedure oriented and object oriented. Usually some programming languages are procedure oriented and some programming languages are object oriented. But you see the specialty of the Python. Python is both procedure oriented as well as object oriented. Python supports both procedural programming as well as object oriented programming. If you doesn't know the actual meaning of procedural programming and object-oriented programming, you will understand in the further discussions. But the actual meaning of procedural programming is like we use some functions. We use functions. Writing procedures or functions in the program that we do in the procedural programming languages. And there will be no concept of objects in the procedural programming. There are some programming languages and some programming languages can be called as procedure-oriented programming languages. The other programming languages can also be called, the other programming languages can be called as object-oriented programming languages. If any programming language is said to be an object-oriented, usually we use objects and classes mechanism. If any programming language is object-oriented, generally we use the concept of objects and classes. But in the procedural programming, we don't have the concept of classes and objects. We just have the procedures and functions. That's it. We don't see any concept of like objects. We don't see any concept of creating objects or classes. The Python supports both procedural programming as well as object-oriented programming. We use functions. In the same way, we'll also use objects. We will also create objects. We'll also create classes. Everything in here we have the concept of object classes in the Python programming language. That's the reason why Python supports both procedure-oriented as well as object-oriented programming language. Let's move on to the next one. Python is having an extensive library. Suppose you see, for example, if you are going to use Python for some web development, if you are going to use Python programming language for web development, we have some frameworks like Django, Flask, like this. These are the example mechanisms that we can use for the web development if you are using Python. And the same programming language called Python, if you are using for data analysis, if we are using the Python programming language for data analysis, you can see some libraries here. We have some libraries like pandas, numpy. These are the libraries we use for data analysis, pandas and numpy. For the machine learning, you see, Python can also be used in case of machine learning. For example, you see some of the libraries that we use for the machine learning is TensorFlow, skitlearn. Okay, these are the things like you can see for the machine learning. This is the one. SCI Kit, okay. TensorFlow, SCI Kit, image processing. For the image processing, you can see Pillow, OpenCV. These are the examples. These are the example libraries. For the scientific computing, we can see Spicy and many others. There are many others, but these are some of the examples where we need to prove that Python is having an extensive ecosystem of the libraries. So I would like to say the Python is having a very good ecosystem of libraries. It is having many libraries in the diverse areas, not only in the single area. For web development, it has its own libraries. For the data analysis, it has libraries. For the machine learning, it has libraries. That's the reason why we are saying Python is having an extensive library. Right? These are the features of the programming language. Hope you understood like what are the things that we have seen. Let's go on. Let's try to understand the features of Python. Python is very simple and easy to learn because Python syntax is very clear and easy to learn. Python can be downloaded for free of cost from the internet, and we can use it. We can install it and we can use it. That's why it is called as an open source. And usually the statements that we write, the programming language statements that we use in the Python usually is high-level language. High-level languages are developer-friendly. Developer can easily understand what is the exact meaning of that particular statement. Python is a platform independent. If I run any program in the Windows environment, the same program can be run in Mac OS as well as other operating systems, any other operating system without any modifications. That gives the meaning of platform independent. What is dynamically typed? We don't need to declare the data type of the variable. No need to declare. You don't need to mention the data type. Int, char, float. You don't need to mention any kind of data type. Just declare the variable and assign the value for it. That's it. By default, it will handle the data types. Okay. Dynamically type. No need to declare the data type of the variable based on the syntax, based on the value that we can consider what kind of data type it is. Python is both procedure and object-oriented programming language. Told you the meaning. Some programming languages are procedural and procedural oriented. Some programming languages are object oriented. And if any programming language is said to be object oriented, there we use the concept of objects and classes. If any programming language is said to be procedural, there people use procedures and functions. And Python is also having an extensive library where we use various libraries. Python is having various libraries in the diverse areas. As I told you, for the web development, we can use Python for the web development. And these are the mechanisms these are the frameworks that we use. Django, Flash, these are the frameworks. Data analysis, for data analysis, we use Pandas and NumPy. These are the libraries. These are the libraries, okay? Django, Flash, Pandas, NumPy. For machine learning, TensorFlow and SCA-Kit, image processing, Pillow and OpenCV. Got it? Scientific computing, we have Spy. There is a library called Spice, and there are many others. This is a proof where Python can have to say that the Python is having an extensive library. Okay, let's go on and let's understand like how we are going to install Python and how we are going to practice the Python small Python programs. Let's come into the practicals. Let's start understanding practicals. First of all, we need to install Python. How we go and install Python. So to install Python, we have an official website called python.org. You see, we are looking at the process of Python installation. How to install Python? Python installation. Please go to the website called python.org. I'm going to the website called python.org. Python.org. This is the website. After going into the website, you can go to the downloads. Just see here. Just click on the downloads. And when you click on the downloads, it will show you the latest version for Windows. Okay, it will show you the download. It will show you an option called download Python 3.13.0. This is the latest version available. You can just click on download Python. So once you click on download, an exe file will be downloaded. Can you see here? An exe file is getting downloaded. Once an exe file is downloaded, you can just give a double click on it and you can try run installing. You see, since Python is already installed in my machine, I don't want to install Python once again. But to install the Python, what you need to do is, let me uninstall the Python in my machine and let me try to install once again. So how to uninstall? Suppose if you want to uninstall any Python, if you want to uninstall anything, I'm showing you like if already Python is installed, how to install it. Why? Because in my machine, the Python is already installed. Let me uninstall it. So we can go to a program called add or remove programs. Okay, from the search bar, like you can go to add or remove programs. And we can see here, just search for, let me search for Python. Let me search for Python. We have, yes, I'm just uninstalling it. Okay. I'm trying to uninstall Python. You see the uninstall is in the progress. Python is getting uninstalled. I am uninstalling the Python. I am uninstalling the Python. It will take some time for the uninstallation. So usually once it is uninstalled, I will show you like how we are going to install Python. Python can be installed very easily. Please go to the website called python.org. In that particular website, go to the downloads. And if you click on downloads, it will show you the latest version of the Python. Please download the latest version exe file. Download to your local machine. And once an exe file is downloaded to your machine, just give a right click on the exe file. Just give a double click on the exe file so that the Python gets installed into your local machine. Once Python is installed, what are the next steps that we need to do? Okay, let it be uninstalled. But once the Python is installed, what is happening here? Go to the python.org. If you are using Windows operating system, download Python version for Windows. This might be the latest version. Now the latest version is different, Python.13, Python.3.13 something. You can see here what is the latest version it is showing. Py 3.13.0. maybe whenever you install, okay, whenever you install, you can verify the latest version. So I'm just updating the latest version as 3.13.0. Observation. Once the Python is installed, once the Python is downloaded, if you click on the downloads, okay, and you'll see the latest version, download it, an exe file will be downloaded to your local machine. And .exe file, a file with .exe extension will be downloaded to your local machine. And please run please run the file. How to run the file? How to run the file? So I think we have uninstalled the Python program. Let's see. I'm just going to add a remove programs. I'm searching like Python launcher. I'm just uninstalling this also. Right. So now what I'm doing is like, now you can search for the Python. We don't have anything. Okay. Python is not available in my machine. Python is not there in my machine. How to download Python? Just now I have downloaded, I've shown you. Go to the python.org, click on downloads. You'll see the latest version. Once you click on download, exe file will be downloaded. Just go to the exe file and give a double click on it so that Python will be installed. Just click on install now so that the Python will be installed. Okay, once you click on download, Python will be installed. So the installation process is in progress. Once Python is installed, you need to set up a path. Make sure in which folder Python is getting installed. Usually, Python will be installed into the programming files, C programming files into that area. Maybe it might differ based on your system, based on your machine. Please find out where the Python is installed. Once you install the Python successfully, you can verify the path of the Python. You can verify the path of the Python, and then you can set up the path. So I'll show you like where you need to set up the path. Okay, where you need to set up the path. So you go to the search bar and here on the downside. Okay, next to the Windows symbol we have search option, right? So here you go and search with edit the system environment variables. Just search with edit option. Edit the system environment variables. Go to here, edit the environment variables and environment variable section. And under that we have system variables. And under the system variables you have a path. Just open it. Try to open it. And you can able to see here, this is my path earlier. Okay, this is my path earlier. This is the place where my Python was installed earlier. Okay, this is the place where my Python was installed. Not sure now where it got installed, but let me check. The Python setup installation was successful. So how can you verify once Python installation is successful? You open the command prompt. Just open the command prompt and search with Python. If you search with Python, it is clearly showing that Python 3.13.0 is clearly showing the version. It is clearly showing. Once you open the command prompt and just give a word Python so that it will clearly show you the Python version, Python 3.13, and a terminal will get opened for you. This is the place where you can just try a sample program. Like I'm just giving a sample program like print hello world. I'm trying to print. I'm using hello. I am using print function. I'm just trying to print something. Sorry. I'm just trying to print something inside the double quotes. Can you see here the output? The output it is printing as hello world only. When I'm giving print inside the print function, I'm giving the double quotes and I'm keeping like hello world and it is printing as hello world only. We could able to see the Python is successfully installed. It's very simple. You go to the python.org, download it, install it in your machine. The only thing is you need to set up the path. Go to edit the system environment variables and make sure you need to set up a path here. Under system environment variables, we have a path and make sure that you have set up the path where the Python is installed. Usually in your machine that might be a different, okay? In your machine that might be a different path. Please find out. Usually it might be stored in C programming file somewhere. Please find out the path and please set up the path accordingly. Once you set up the path, that's it. Okay, you can use Python successfully. You can go ahead and you can run Python programs. Now you see here, I'm just trying to print a simple statement like Python within the quotes. I'm using like hello world. It's just printing like hello world. Got it? Hope you understood like how we are going to run a Python programs, how we are going to run a small Python programs and all. How can we test whether Python is installed successfully or not? What we are doing to check Okay, once after adding the python.exe file to the path, we need to find out the path where the Python is installed. How we are going to find out the path? You see, you can go to the search bar and something like you type like Python, and here you see, if you go here and see, you can just open the file location. Python dot, you see the executable file. Where is the executable file? Python 3.13.exe. Okay. So show you the executable file. So the executable file is here. Once you double click on the executable file and once you install Python, usually Python will be installed somewhere in your machine. You need to find out the path. Usually the base path is like in my machine, it is showing like different. The base path is like you can go to the C. Please go to the C. In the C programming files, you will find the C programming files, and there you will find the Python. But let me show you in my machine where actually it got installed. Okay, after double clicking on the exe file where the Python got installed, I'll show you. In my machine where it got stored, I'll show you. Let me show you by using the edit environment variables. Go to path. Okay. Happened. See the path. Edit. Just click on edit. You see here in the users under C colon. Okay, we have users. Under users, we have another thing called Tech Thinkers. Inside the Tech Thinkers folder, we have app data. Okay, just keep on searching like this. So usually I have gone through like C. Please go to the C drive. I have a folder called users. Inside the users, I have another thing called Tech Thinkers. Inside that, I have gone for what is the path? You can see now. 1 second, I'll show you the path. Okay, see users, Tech Thinkers, app data, local programs. App data, local programs. 1 second, app data. Where is app data here? Do you find anything called app data? Users, Tech Thinkers, and I will show you. Okay. See, we are having a folder called app data. So inside the app data, we are having, okay, inside the Tech Thinkers, we have app data. Inside app data, we will be having some folders again. So we need to find out, okay, we need to find out where the Python is installed, where the Python is installed in your machine particularly, and we need to give the path. We need to set up the path here. So then only Python will, okay, work. Okay, this is the path where my Python is installed. That's the reason why I have provided the same path. And once this is done, okay, once this is done, once the path setup is done and all, you can open the command prompt and you can verify. So how we are opening the command prompt? Go to the search bar and search like CMD. You search with CMD and here you search with Python word. You can type just Python. You can simply type Python so that the Python version we can able to see. Python 3.13.0. This is the version we can able to see. Python version we can able to see. And if you want to simply type a program, if you want to simply see the output of any of the program, I just shown you like print is one function which is used in the Python. Print is a function which is used to print. Okay, similar to the other programming languages, Python can be used to print some strings. Whatever the string you write in the double quotes, inside the double quote, the same string will be printed as output, and we're able to see the output of this print hello world statement. That's it. Python is successfully installed, and we are able to see Python version, and we are able to run small Python programs. We are able to run some Python programs also. And now, let me show you. Okay, in the command prompt, we can verify. Okay, in the command prompt, we can verify the Python is installed or not. And once the Python is installed, you also see an icon called IDLE. Once the Python is installed, you say I'm just going there and searching for Python. Once Python is installed in the search bar, you can search for your Python word. You can search with the Python word, and you can see here IDLE. Something is showing like IDLE. What is this IDLE? Let's talk about this IDLE. IDLE stands for Integrated Development Learning Environment. IDLE stands for Integrated Development Learning Environment. What is IDLE? IDLE is a REPL tool. IDLE stands for Integrated Development Learning Environment. What is this IDLE? IDLE stands for REPL tool. The full form of REPL is reading, evaluating, printing, and loop. So what is doing? What it is doing? IDLE. Okay, by using IDLE also we can practice some programs. Let me open the IDLE. I just type like IDLE Python. Okay, so you can simply click on it and you can open the Python IDLE. This is the IDLE. This is how the IDLE opens. This is how the IDLE opens, and you can simply try now with the word called Python. Okay, otherwise you can try something like printing like this. Python. Hello world. I'm just keeping hello world inside the double quotes. Can you able to see this printing the output like hello world? Yes. I'm able to see when I'm trying to print something. Yes, print function is working fine. That means Python is executing. We're able to execute Python programs. What is this IDLE? IDLE is a tool. IDLE stands for Integrated Development Learning Environment. We can use IDLE. IDLE stands for Integrated Development Learning Environment. IDLE is a REPL tool. REPL. REPL stands for what? REPL. Reading, evaluating, printing, and loop. First, whatever the input you give, you see, I'm giving this input. I'm giving this input statement. So it is reading the statement. It is reading the statement. It is evaluating it. It is trying to understand what is it. It is printing the output. And again, it is going to the loop. You see here, whenever you print something, okay, I would like to print something differently now. I would like to print something differently now. I'm just trying to print something like Tech-Thinkers, okay? Tech-Thinkers.com or Tech-Thinkers.online, whatever it is. I'm just trying to print something here. When I'm trying to print something, we could able to print something like Tech-Thinkers.online. What is happening? When I'm giving the statement, it is trying to understand what the statement is. Okay, it is reading the statement, evaluating the statement, printing the output. Again, it is going to the loop. It is ready for the next input. You see the terminal, it is ready for the next input. This statement I've given. So it started reading the input, evaluated the input, finally printed the output. Finally, it is asking, it is waiting for the next input to give. It is asking the user next input to give. This is how where your cursor is waiting for the next input. That is called REPL tool. Read, evaluate, print, and loop. REPL tools are responsible for reading, evaluating, printing, and loop. That is the meaning of IDLE. Once you install Python, you will also get IDLE. You don't need to install it separately. No need to install it separately. You will also get IDLE. IDLE stands for Integrated Development Learning Environment. It is a REPL tool. REPL stands for reading, evaluating, printing, and looping. Okay. So now you see some other examples we'll test. I'm just giving 10 plus 20. You see here, I'm just giving 10 plus 20. 10 plus 20. Did I say? You see here, when I'm giving 10 plus 20, it is directly adding both the numbers and giving the output. It is trying to understand. Python is understanding whatever the input that you are giving, and it is giving out the output. You can give anything, any number. I'm just giving the number like 20 greater than 10. If 20 greater than 10, definitely it will pass the Boolean value as true. If I give the input like 20 less than 10, definitely it will understand. Python understands, and it is returning the output as false. Hope we got it, like how the Python is trying to understand the statements, input statements, it is evaluating, and it is passing the output. Very simple. Python is very simple, right? Even a beginner can understand. Nothing much difficult here. Very simple to understand. Even the syntax is also. And you see the one more meaning here. Earlier, we just tried to give this hello world inside the double quotes. But I would like to give within the single quotes. Now I would like to give the print statement in the single print one, the print function. And within the print function, I'm just giving the hello world within the single quotes. Yes, is it going to be work? Is it going to work or not? Let's see. When I give the thing, when I give the same thing in the single quotes, in the particular string in the single quotes, it is also working. Earlier, we just gave in the double quotes, it was working. Now we are trying to give inside the single quotes, it is also working. Meaning, whenever you pass the string inside the print function, it's very important to understand. Either you can give it in double quotes or you can give it in the single quotes. That's the one thing we need to understand. Right? Let's move on. Let's move on. We have seen some examples like whether how a Python is trying to understand. Whenever you give hello world, it is printing. Whenever you use print function, it is printing whatever the string that you are giving inside the quotes. If you give 10 plus 20, it is understanding and returning the output. If you give 10 less than 30, let's see whether it understands and give the output. Yes, 10 less than 30. You tell me whether it is true or false. 10 less than 30. 10 less than 30. It is true. Yes, it is returning the output as true. This is how we are going to, this is how the Python is going to understand the input. Okay. This is how usually Python will understand and process the output. Got it? Usually, there are two ways, okay? You can try some sample statements in the command prompt. You can open the command prompt and you can try out whether Python is working in your machine like this. If there are any simple statements, if you want to try it out, you can try it out in the command prompt. Okay? And if you want to use ideally, you can also use ideally. Just now I have shown you. You can also type the same thing in the ideally and you can work, you can make use of it. And usually how the Python programs can be, what is a very easy way of handling Python programs? Python programs, you can handle Python programs. You can write the Python programs in some notepad kind of thing. And there is a software called Edit Plus. There is a software that you need to install called Edit Plus. You can install Edit Plus in your machine. And that Edit Plus will be used very easily for writing the Python programs. So how to download and how to edit Python Edit Plus out? How to download and how to install Edit Plus in your local machine? Just go to the Google, how you download the Python. In the same way, we have a software called Edit Plus. I'm just asking you to download it. It's very easy for you people to write the Python programs. Okay. So you can see here, click here to download from the Microsoft Store. Okay. You can download the Edit Plus software. Once you download the Edit Plus, you can see the downloads. Okay. You can see here, let me show you. You can see the Edit Plus. Simply download it. Let me show you how we are downloading it. Can you see here? We can able to see. Usually we need to pay for it, but I suggest you to use. Okay, I suggest you to make use of the free tier. So usually it will give you a free version. It will give you a free version for 1 month. Okay, trial period for 1 month. You can use the trial period. You can use this Edit Plus trial period. If you are okay with this, if you want to subscribe, you can use. Okay. So no need to pay in the beginning itself. I'm just suggesting you like to go for Edit Plus and use it. It's very easy, very helpful for you to write the programs and all Python programs. Okay, once the Edit Plus is installed, usually an exe file will be downloaded and you will double click on the exe file so that this will be installed in your machine. Okay, just click on download option, more options. Okay, when you click on more options, you are able to see download Edit Plus 64-bit. Okay, two things we are able to see. And I'm just giving a double click on download Edit Plus 64-bit. So I'm able to see, okay, I'm able to see this one. Once you get the exe file, you can give a double click on it and it is asking accept and proceed with the installation. That's it, very simple. Edit Plus. Installing Edit Plus is very simple. Downloading an exe file, accepting it and just proceeding with the installation. That's it. I'm not installing it. Why? Because my machine is already having this Edit Plus software. I'm just searching here, you see. If I go to the search bar and I'm searching for the Edit Plus, I'm able to see the Edit Plus software in my machine. So Edit Plus software is already available in my machine. So whatever the programs that I write, I will open in Edit Plus and I will write. Okay, let me show you how I am going to write the programs. Okay. So go to the desktop. You can go to your desktop or otherwise any location. Okay, if you want, wherever you want to store all your programs, wherever you want to store all your programs, you can go there. Okay, I'm just closing this IDLE also. You can use IDLE if you want. So I have some program called, okay, I'm just keeping a folder called Python. Okay, I just kept a folder called Python. Inside the Python, I'm saving a file with the file name called sample.py. I'm saving a program called sample.py. You just create a new file. Just create a new file. create a new document and just give the name for the program as sample1.py. Very simple. We need to save the file. All the Python programs, okay? All the Python programs must be saved with an extension called .py. All Java programs will be stored with an extension called .java. Similarly, the Python programming, okay? All the Python programs must be saved with an extension called .py. Just now I've created a file and given the file name with .py extension. And if this is an empty file, if you want to open this file, just give a right click on that file. On top of the file, you can give a right click and ask to open it with okay, let's see. I'm just going to open it. I'm just giving a right click, open it with option, open with edit plus. I'm opening with edit plus. Hope you understood. I just created a folder. Inside the folder, I created one empty file and gave an extension called .py. .py. There I'm opening the edit plus. I'm opening that file in edit plus mode. So now you can type any program here. I'm just writing a program called print within the print statement. I'm trying to print hello world. Once after writing the statement, okay? Once after writing the statement, what you need to do? You need to save it. You need to save it. You need to save it. And you can open the command prompt now, okay? You can open the command prompt. Make sure you open the command prompt in the same location. Make sure you open the command prompt in the same location where you have the Python file. You see, this is the place, right? This is the place where I'm having the Python file. And in the same place, I'm opening the command prompt. I'm going here to the address bar. This is the place, okay? This is the place where I'm having this file. This is the place. And there itself, I'm opening the command prompt. To open the command prompt here, select the entire search bar, give a command CMD over there. That's it. The command prompt will be opened there in the same path. If you want to open the command prompt in the same path, there itself you can open. After opening, you just need to give okay, you just need to give a file name called, you just need to give a word called Python to see whether Python is working. Yes, Python is working here. And now how to run the Python program? You need to run Python program. You need to run with a Python program called Python space. What is the file name? You can see the file name sample1.py. To run the Python program, you can run with a file name called sample1.py. I'm just running it with sample1.py. Maybe some issue. We need to find out what is the issue here. I'm just going for the edit plus. I'm just trying to, okay, I'm just trying to print the Python with some letter. What is the issue here? I'm saving it and I'm going to run this program now. Something is issue here. It is showing like sample1.py. I'm running a file called sample1.py. Did I open the Python here? Okay, 1 second. Let me close it. What I will do is, so what actually we need to do is you need to go to the program where the program is written. So just go to the command prompt and open this command prompt with the help of CMD and just try to run the program here itself. Python space sample1.py. Can we able to see the output? Yes. So you need to open the command prompt in the location and I'm just running the program with the help of the syntax Python space file name. Usually we save the file name with the help of .py extension. Since my file name is sample1, I did save the file with an extension called sample1.py. And Python is the one that I'm adding. Okay, Python space file name.py. This is how actually we run the Python programs. And we can see the output here. This is the output I'm getting. This is the output I'm getting. Okay. So now I would like to modify. I would like to edit the file. I would like to edit the file and I would like to add one more statement. This is not only the statement I would like to add one more one. I would like to add one more statement. Like I'm just adding a statement like welcome to, I would like to add like welcome to Python programming. I'm just adding a thing called welcome to Python. Okay, that's enough. I'm just saving this statement. I am going to run it. So once after saving this, you can go back to the command prompt and you can run the same line Python space sample1.py. In the command prompt, we are just running this one Python space sample1.py. That's it. Python is running. You see, the first statement that I would like to print is hello world. The second statement that I would like to print is welcome to Python. These are the two statements that I would like to print. Hope you understood like how we can run the programs. How we can run the programs by using. Hope you understood like how can we run programs in the how can we save the programs in the edit place and how can we run the programs in the command prompt here. This is the command Python space sample1.py. This is the command we use for running the Python program. Yes, everything is working fine. Okay. So now let's understand. Usually, any file, okay? Any file name you are writing, you need to save the file name as filename.py. You can give any file name, no restrictions. Any file name you can give, you need to save the file with .py extension. To run the file from the command prompt, you need to use Python space. What is the file name we use? To run the program you need to use this command Python space file name. If xyz is the file name, you need to run this command Python space xyz.py so that your Python program will run. And you can able to see the output in the command prompt. Yes, we can able to see the output. This is what I would like to discuss with you on the introduction part. In the next session, we will be understanding, okay, we'll be starting like what is Python identifier. We are going to understand like what is a Python identifier, what are the identifiers and what is actually Python identifiers. And what is a variable, how we are going to define variables here. Everything we'll be understanding in the next session. Today, what we have covered, we have understood like, okay, let's understand like what we have covered today. I would like to show you what we have covered today. You can see here simply, I'm just trying to mention what we have covered today. What is a Python? We understood today what is a Python. Python is a programming language. We know we understood about many features of the programming language. What is the main interest of programming language? To develop an application. Okay, and we also understood the features of Python. There are many features, simple and easy to learn, platform independent. There are many features you might have understood, right? There are many features of the programming language, very easy to learn. Okay. Python is a high-level language, platform independent, open source, dynamically typed, procedure oriented. All these are the five features of the programming language. And we also understood like how to install, okay, installation of Python. Very important, okay, installation of Python. We understood like installation of Python. And we also understood what is IDLE, installation of Python. We understood like what is IDLE. IDLE stands for Integrated Development Learning Environment. Integrated Development Learning Environment. Okay, what is Python? Features of Python, installation of Python, ideally, understood ideally. And we also understood like how to write Python programs in the edit place software and how to save the programs and how to run the programs. These are the things that we have understood in this session. Okay. And we are going to understand few other things in the next session, like what is a Python identifier, how we are going to define variables. Okay. We are going to discuss all those things in the next session. Okay. Thank you.